we're going to move on to a couple of bits from Iran, America, and the UAE. Regarding the Iran war, a few bits around regarding what Trump's been doing as well. So we'll start off with footage from Iran. And this is footage of the IRGC intelligence. That what happened is they dismantled 5 arms smuggling networks in Tehran, which were all linked to Israel. So W for Iran. And guys, I want to apologize for my camera constantly flashing. If there's any technical experts in the chat that know how to fix that, then please let me know, because I've been trying to figure it out for about an hour before the stream. But anyway, we've got a little clip here. I don't think there's any sound. Yeah, so you can just see all of the things that they caught. Mossad was trying to plan something huge by the looks of things. Don't know what they was trying to plan, but unlucky for them, the IRGC intervened and they stopped it before it could happen. It's weird. I did think there was sound on this, but oh well. Who cares? I guess. You saw it yesterday. Yeah, nice. So yeah, they caught the Mossad agents trying to infiltrate Tehran. Also, we saw Esmail Baqi, who's the spokesperson for Iran's foreign ministry, and he said, if Israel makes a mistake and gives us a pretext, Iran's armed forces will make the best possible use of it. Try it, Israel. Dare you to try it. That's basically what he's saying. I dare you. Go on, give us one reason to fuck you up. Just give us one reason. Iran's Revolutionary Guard intelligence said it dismantled 5 cells involving 20 members linked to terrorist groups and weapons smuggling operations. So this is relating to the video we saw up there. So they was also linked up with terrorist groups. So they was definitely planning some mad shit in Iran. Good job they caught them when they did. CNN, citing Israeli sources, said Israel is concerned that Trump could reach an agreement with Iran before key issues are addressed. How the fuck are they concerned that Trump might reach an agreement with Iran? It just shows you they love the blood on their hands. The key issues. What are the key issues? Oh, Iran, their nuclear capabilities and their uranium enrichment. Like, bro, enough of this. Enough of this. JT Landscape says, why are you so against Israel? They're fucking committing a genocide. Why wouldn't I be against killing of kids? Why wouldn't I be against the killing of kids? Is that not normal or something? Bombing children across the Middle East. Is that something that people support? I don't think that's a normal thing that people support. Maybe if you're living in a Western nation and you listen to people like President Trump, then maybe it's normal to you. But to the rest of the world, bro, it's not normal. So I think majority of the people in this chat are against Israel, funny enough. And around 70% of Iran's pre-war missile stockpile remains intact, including ballistic missiles and a smaller number of cruise missiles. This is according to the New York Times. And even the New York Times are saying that, listen, at least 70% of Iran's missiles from before the war are still intact. Who knows what they've built up in the ceasefire. Oh, this camera's really bugging me. I don't know how it isn't bugging you guys, how it's bugging me. I keep seeing it flashing. Yeah, I don't know how to fix that. It's getting on my nerves, though. It's really getting on my nerves. How can I fix this? So I'm just going to try and fix it while we're on stream. I asked ChatGPT and it told me to change the FPS and do this and do that, but, you know, let me just try to refresh it. You're not going to see me for a second. It's depressing. Very depressing. Hopefully that will fix it. Just trying to fucking... I'm going to flip it vertically, flip it back. Oh, and then maybe it will sort itself out, hopefully. Yeah, No One X says lols. They said 70% of the US had been depleted, and Iran has still got 70%. Iran should have not agreed to the ceasefire. If they kept going, they would have won. I think they did already win. That they achieved their objectives. You know, they've got control of the Strait of Hormuz. They've got America begging for a ceasefire. So it definitely went in the right way for them. They've got to also remember: do they want a long war? Whether they're going to win it or not? Do they really want a long war? You know, people will die. So, but I think they won. They won that already. Yeah. So yeah, on the camera's still doing it. I'm gonna have to just ignore it. So the UAE is also now installing anti-drone protection cages around oil facilities. They're obviously worried. They don't want to get fucked up again. And Donald Trump said China is strong, but the United States is militarily stronger. I don't know why the fuck China let this guy into his country. But anyway, we did play this clip yesterday on stream, but I want to play it again because it was funny. Trump snaps up at a bird sound. You know, he's obviously got the PTSD. He's scared that Iran might smoke him at any time. And halfway through his thing, he hears a bird and he's like, uh-oh, I thought that was a drone. And he tries to make it like a joke, but he probably was being serious.
I love this land. God bless the USA.
We could have kept that going. What a great song. I won a lot of races with that song. Uh-oh. Thought that was a drone. They make them in all different sizes nowadays. They can be very destructive, as you probably heard.
Yeah, he's terrified. Makes it a joke, but, you know, he's probably a bit scared. And, yeah, we was talking about this yesterday. We were saying about Trump done his meme coin scam. I don't know if you guys remember that. He done a meme coin scam. And that was like a Trump coin, and that went to the floor. And everyone lost their money. Then there was like the Melania coin. Thank you for the kick, Silent Tears. I appreciate you, bro. Yeah, there was a Melania coin. That got rugged as well. Then he made the Trump phone, and you know that people paid for it. Then they didn't get sent the phone, and they updated the terms of service to saying if you paid for the phone, you ain't getting no refund. So they got bumped for that as well. And on top of all of that, people were, you know, probably still trying to defend Trump, saying, "Oh no, you know, it's all conspiracy, it's all a lie. He didn't do that." But then he came out yesterday, and the reporter asked him, "To what extent are Americans' financial situations motivating you to make a deal?" Trump says, "Not even a little bit. I don't think about Americans' financial situations." Damn, that's got to hurt if you're a Trump supporter.
To what extent are Americans' financial situations motivating you to make a deal?
Not even a little bit. The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about Americans' financial situation. I don't think about anybody. I think about one thing. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That's all.
Okay, so all you care about is not letting Iran have a nuclear weapon. You don't give a fuck about the Americans. He told you straight to your face. He don't give a fuck about any of you Americans. Why would he care about you if you're not in his cabinet? You don't care. And Trump done a weird post yesterday. At first it was weird anyway. And he said, "I want you." He posted this weird thing saying, "I want you." And, you know, at first it seemed a bit random. Yeah. And then after that, you know, a few hours after that, he done another post saying Trump dreams of Venezuela becoming the 51st state, because he posted a picture of Venezuela as America. So I'm guessing that's what he meant when he said, "I want you." Yeah, it's ridiculous, really, isn't it? But, you know, it's Donald Trump we're talking about. Terrorist Trump. Trump the terrorist. What more can we expect? And also, after this, we're all starting to talk about Venezuela again, I've noticed. Because US Secretary of State Marco Rubio was spotted wearing a Nike tracksuit similar to the one Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro wore during his capture. Yeah, it's a bit weird. It's very weird. I don't know. He looks like a fucking clown in that as well, may I add. I'm actually wearing a Nike tech tracksuit too. But, you know, I don't know why. I thought this was AI at first, but it's not. It's just very weird. And we saw Trump also arriving in Beijing with Elon Musk and Jensen Huang in tow. So this is about 3-4 hours ago. This is a very quiet video. And it's a bit weird, the audio. It seems like it's glitching out a bit as well. But yeah. Whoever bought those Trump coins / phones was very foolish indeed. Yeah, I know, right? But I suppose people believe in their president. They just wanted a way to make it out and make some money. And unfortunately was scammed. They probably thought, oh, you know, Trump's got loads of money. He wouldn't rob us. Well, think again. He would. So it's weird, isn't it? Elon Musk and Trump seem to be besties again as well.
Oh, no. Well, maybe they'll take Christian because I've got a Christian.
Silent TL says they're both on the Epstein list. Yep, they are. It's weird as well because do you guys remember when Elon Musk done that tweet? Like when he turned on Trump for like a week, and he was saying about Trump's all over the Epstein files, and then he deleted the tweet. So that's interesting. Yeah, weird. And one last little clip we've got from Alex Jones and Dan Bilzerian. And Alex asked Dan, he said, if you were the president, what would you do? Dan said, I would declare war on Israel. Based. I would cut off all foreign aid. I would let Iran have free will to do what they want with Israel. I would kind of let the problem probably take care of itself, to be honest. Because if we stop defending Israel, I think they would get what they deserve. Big fucking W from Dan Bilzerian. If I was in America, I'd be voting for him. 100%. 100%. Let's play the clip.
If you were the president, what would you do?
I would declare war on Israel. I would cut off, I mean, at a minimum, I would cut off all foreign aid. I would let Iran have free will to do what they want with Israel. I would kind of let the problem probably take care of itself, to be honest, because if we stop defending Israel, I think they would get what they deserve. They have been persecuting these Palestinians. They've been operating apartheid. They've attacked all their neighbors. I mean, they bombed 7 countries in a year. They continue to just have unprovoked aggression. I mean, they are a total terrorist nation. I just don't understand how they're not qualified as a terrorist nation. They have nukes. They acquired them illegally. They refused to sign the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, and they said that they would just kill everybody if they feel threatened. So, please tell me, Alex, how does that not make them the greatest terrorist threat to the world today?
If you were the president, what would you do?
Yeah, I'd love to see the full interview. Actually, to be fair, how can I watch the full interview? Would it be on Alex Jones? Here we go. So, I don't think it's that long of an interview, is it? Is that long? No, it's not. So it's just gonna be like, yeah, we'll watch some of it. Let me speed it up.
Even Netanyahu says everybody's turning against him. What are they going to do? A big false flag? Something like that?
That's the scary thing, right? I mean, they're not going to just hand it over. They're not going to go down without a fight. You know, we know that they, have no scruples. We've seen the things that they've done in the past. I mean, that pager attack was one of the biggest terrorist attacks in history. And, and that was kind of applauded. And many civilians died or were hurt because of that. And that was something they had been planning for 8 years. So it just shows kind of the nefarious nature of that country and how they've done business. I mean, and you look, I mean, they literally poisoned Palestinian wells. Like that was, that was an authorized attack.
If you were the president, what would you do?
I would declare war on Israel. I would cut off, I mean, at a minimum, I would cut off all foreign aid. I would let Iran have free will to do what they want with Israel. I would kind of let the problem probably take care of itself, to be honest, because if we stop defending Israel, I think they would get what they deserve. They have been persecuting these Palestinians. They've been operating apartheid. They've attacked all their neighbors. I mean, they bombed 7 countries in a year. They continue to just have unprovoked aggression. I mean, they are a total terrorist nation. I just don't understand how they're not qualified as a terrorist nation. They have nukes. They acquired them illegally. They refused to sign the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, and they said that they would just kill everybody if they feel threatened. So, please tell me, Alex, how does that not make them the greatest terrorist threat to the world today?
Based.
All right. Well, I said it here right now. I'm really for Congress, Bilzerian for Congress. Be sure to check that out. Dan Bilzerian, 45-year-old Tampa-born U.S. Navy veteran, social media influencer with 30 million followers, is running as Republican in Florida's 6th district against a true goblin Israeli operative, Randy Fine, who I'm no fan of. And he joins us. Now, I was already planning to get him on about his congressional run, but then I saw this clip a few days ago where he says, exterminate everybody in Israel. That's why I went after Trump, saying we're going to kill all the Iranians, the Persians, their culture will never come back. Glowing crater. I mean, it's Netanyahu, because he's called for the Old Testament term of exterminating everybody. So I'm against that across the board. I don't think you can blame all Jews, all Persians, all Christians. I just think fundamentally that is dangerous and it goes too far. But I can tell you, it's certainly ballsy him saying that. Here's one of the clips of what he's been saying.
I mean, honestly, the only real battle in the world today that I see worth fighting is, exterminating Israel. I mean, I would sign up tomorrow and go put boots on the ground and go kill Israelis. That would be a great day for me. I would sign up on draft waiver, wherever. Give me a rifle and send me the over there. I truly believe that the majority of that country is evil, and they're perpetuating a genocide. They've been operating apartheid. They're suppressing those Palestinians. They're attacking their neighbors. They're operating like terrorists. They're arrogant, ungrateful bastards, and they need to be wiped off the map.
Damn.
All right. Well, Dan Bilzerian joins us for a discussion and a debate on this and why he ran for Congress against the Israeli operative Randy Fine. So, Dan, I agree with a lot of what you have to say, but I tell you, saying exterminate everybody in Israel, I mean, you want to quantify that, or are you saying everybody there needs to die? You're ready to go fight and die? Who would you fight alongside? Thanks for joining us.
Well, I think that's taken out of context. I said the only war worth fighting today is against Israel, and that I would be happy to go and fight in that war. And that would be against Israeli military members, not against citizens. So I think that's taken a little bit out of context, like I said, when you just post that one clip.
Okay, well, send us the full clip. Well, what did you say in the full clip? I mean, you're here. Tell us what you think.
That's what I said. I said the only war worth fighting today is against Israel. They're terrorists. They've been operating as terrorists, and they've attacked us. They have sold our secrets. They have undermined us. They have lied to us to get us into wars. And so, yeah, I can't think of another country that I would rather be fighting against than Israel.
True.
Well, let's talk about, again, I just saw that clip. I mean, you say exterminate them. You're talking about the Israeli military.
Yes.
What should happen with Israel? Are you from the mountains of the sea, no Israel?
Yeah, I think that place should not exist. They stole the land. They've been operating as terrorists. They were terrorists before Israel's inception. I mean, what made up Israel? The Irgun, the Haganah, and the Stern Gang. I mean, those are all terrorist organizations. They blew up the King David Hotel. They were murdering British diplomats. They were murdering British military members. They were all designated terrorist organizations, and that is what formed the IDF. All the leaders of those terrorist organizations went on to be prime ministers of Israel. So it is a terrorist nation. It's always been a terrorist nation. And we've been lied to, and we've been told that all of their enemies are terrorists, and that's who we should be fighting. But the truth of the matter is, we should have taken out Israel a long time ago. We should have started the USS Liberty. Maybe we should have started the Levant affair. Maybe we should have started when they were genociding people during the Nakba.
King David Hotel as well.
Well, I don't find any fault with what you just said. That's all on record. But definitely Israel was a powerful lobby before. What's changed the last year or so since Operation Midnight Hammer, where Israel openly wants to control our foreign policy and domestic to defend that policy? I'm sure you saw the 60 Minutes with Netanyahu. If you didn't, I could play the clips. Already played the first hour. But he literally says, the war ends when I say. People are just jealous of Israel. We've done nothing wrong. We need to basically censor the media, eight-front war, not understanding. Yeah, we see you carpet bombing Christian Lebanon, tens of thousands of homes, blowing up churches, raping men, women, and children. I mean, what the hell's going on here? Why do you think Israel is so mad dog right now?
It seems like they want to, force a world war, and they don't want peace. They've sabotaged all of our peace deals. They continue to bomb Lebanon. They've killed the negotiators. I mean, they are, by every definition, terrorists. By the way, the audio on your side, it's
He's speaking facts though as well. I don't know why Alex is looking so surprised. Like, look at his face. He looks like he's so surprised about what Dan's saying. Like, where's Alex been this whole since at least the genocide? Like, if you didn't know what was going on with Israel before, but remember there was that old clip back in the day when the Twin Towers was hit on 9/11, and Alex Jones back then was blaming the Israelis. So I don't know what happened. Back then that changed. Probably since he had that Sandy Hook thing and he got sued. Maybe he had to go kiss the wall. Who knows?
it's a little light. Is it possible that your staff can turn up the audio? Just coming to me anyways.
Absolutely, guys. Can you boost my audio to him, please? Great, we'll do that. So let's talk about your life and the things you've done. When did you start getting onto the Israel beat? When did you start getting really upset about Israel?
I really started looking at it after October 7th when we got inundated with all the, oh my God, they're trying to kill all Jews. It's a Holocaust, never again, all that. And then I started looking at their massive disproportionate response to what happened on October 7th. Later, I found out that they had allowed October 7th to happen, that they killed their own citizens in the Hannibal Directive. And then I started doing some more research. I was a Navy vet. I found out about the USS Liberty. I found out about Jonathan Pollard. I mean, I really started doing a deep dive into our relationship with Israel, what we've gotten. And not only did we not get anything from them, but we've gotten just such a massive net negative. If anybody had done the things that Israel did to our country, they would be our mortal enemy. And for some reason, we're lied to and told that they're our greatest ally. And
Facts. And London Lady said Alex Jones had a large fine to pay and needed the cash. Yeah, I'm guessing it probably was something like that. It must have been because he knows deep down. He knows deep down.
It's just absolutely not true.
Now, if you were the president or you elected Congress, what would you advise? I mean, how would we do this? Because Israel has a whole bunch of nuclear weapons and high-tech delivery systems. So everybody's saying destroy Israel, destroy their military, get rid of their state. They have the Samson option. That's going to happen. That's why I didn't want this conflagration, this conversation to happen, because I can look at the second, third order developments there. I mean, if you thought about what Israel will do, what would be the scenario to get rid of Israel, as you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. The Samson option, right? If they feel like they are going to be exterminated, they're going to launch nukes and kill everybody else. That alone, that directive makes them the greatest terrorist threat to the world today. And the fact that they have illegally acquired all these nukes, they stole the uranium from us. They have not signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. They don't allow nuclear inspections, and yet they just incessantly whine that Iran is going to get a nuke, that they're a month away from getting a nuke. They've been telling us that the same song and dance for 35 years.
And even JFK, what happened to JFK? He said Israel aren't allowed nukes. What happened to him? They've planned this for years. Israel have been planning this shit for years.
Meanwhile, they've been illegally stockpiling nuclear weapons, and they openly say that they will, launch them against everybody if they feel like they are going to fall, which I just don't understand how that is ignored.
So how would you then, if you were the president of the United States, what would you do?
Oh, I mean, well, you look at what JFK wanted to do, right? He wanted to sign.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Typical. I just said about JFK.
The Zionist lobby, which is now AIPAC, he wanted to register them under FARA. That's what he signed into action. I mean, that absolutely needs to happen. They are a foreign government that's influencing our policy, that's bribing our politicians. That would be where we would start. I mean, the next thing JFK did is that he sent Ben Gurion a letter saying that if they don't allow all the nuclear inspections, that he's going to cut off all their aid and actual nuclear inspections, not their dog and pony show where they pretend to not have nukes. And so what did they do? They killed JFK, and then LBJ came in and he overturned all that. Now they didn't have to register under FARA. The Zionist lobby turned into AIPAC. And then he basically just allowed them to have all the nukes they wanted, didn't force the nuclear inspections. And what did he say when the USS Liberty was attacked? He said, I don't care how many U.S. sailors die as long as we don't embarrass our greatest ally, Israel. So, I mean, what does that tell you? I mean, I think that's when we really lost control of our country.
Thank you, Silent Tios.
Well, it's definitely true that Israel is exerting a lot of control over our country. What is it like? Have you run into Randy Fine yet on the campaign trail? Describe your district, because he is the nastiest Zionist in America, and that's saying a lot. I mean, have you run into him yet?
I have not, but I find it very hypocritical that the anti-Semitism laws that he passed, if he were to say all the things that he says about Muslims, about Jews, he would be in jail for 5 years based on the laws that he passed in this district. Right. And so he is against freedom of speech. He's not American. He wants to send our tax dollars to Israel. He's advocated for us nuking Gaza. He wants the streets of Gaza to run with Palestinian blood. He said.
Thank you, Shane Guyon, for the €4 sticker. Everyone drop a W in the chat for Shane Guyon. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate your support. You're a legend. Drop a W in the chat for him. Thank you so much, bro.
That Muslims are lower than dogs. I mean, this guy is the most vile Jewish supremacist that we have. And to me, that is the greatest threat to the world today. It's not Zionists. It is Jewish supremacy. And he is the embodiment of Jewish supremacy. So that is why I wanted to take him on.
So you say just in the last, 4 years or so, or 3 years, October 7th woke you up to this issue, and now you're on the air saying basically exterminate. I mean, that's the quote. You're saying to mean everybody. Where do you see this? I asked a question before, but I want you to really get into it. If you were the president, what would you do?
Thank you as well, Silent Tios, for the 100 kicks. Drop a W for Silent Tios as well, guys. Thank you. You guys are the best. You helped me out so much.
I would declare war on Israel. I would cut off, at a minimum, I would cut off all foreign aid. I would let Iran have free will to do what they want with Israel. I would kind of let the problem probably take care of itself, to be honest, because if we stop defending Israel, I think they would get what they deserve. They have been persecuting these Palestinians. They've been operating apartheid. They've attacked all their neighbors. I mean, they bombed 7 countries in a year. They continue to just have unprovoked aggression. I mean, they are a total terrorist nation. I just don't understand how they're not qualified as a terrorist nation. They have nukes. They acquired them illegally. They refused to sign the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, and they said that they would just kill everybody if they feel threatened. So, please tell me, Alex, how does that not make them the greatest terrorist threat to the world today?
It's mad as well. Don't you guys think it's mad that we're living in times where they'll designate Palestinians, people from Lebanon, people from Iran, Russia, China, all these people, they'll say they're all terrorists, yeah? But none of these people are doing what Israel is doing. Israel are bombing multiple different countries at the same time. They're committing false flags in other countries. They've been doing this for years, and for some reason, the Western world especially acts like this is nothing, and Israel should be treated as an ally. It's mad. Even what are they called in Russia? The Wagner Group, even the Wagner Group are designated as terrorists, but Israel is not. It's mental.
Right.
Well, let's go back to this, though. Because we have that famous clip. I had it last week. We didn't play it. Played it a year ago. You have Kirby, the Pentagon spokesperson, being asked, well, if Iran's got to be attacked because they might have a nuke, Israel admits they have nukes, tacitly, why not? He said, we can't talk about it. That goes to the next question. You want from the mountains of the sea, or the river to the sea, to get rid of Israel, they're going to do the Samson option. So let's think through where this goes, just from where you want to get rid of Israel, the Muslims want to get rid of it. What does Israel do when that happens?
I mean, look, it's something that we are going to have to deal with if they continue to attack all their neighbors, if they continue to manipulate U.S. foreign policy, if they continue to steal our tax dollars, if they continue to bribe and blackmail our politicians. Eventually, we are going to have to deal with this problem. We should have dealt with this problem a long time ago. And the longer we put it off, the more nuclear weapons they're going to have. And so, you know, at a minimum, we need to cut off all the foreign aid to Israel. We need to stop their influence on our politicians. You know, it's like our politicians are like these easily led automatons, just like, you know, clapping like baby seals when Netanyahu comes in Congress, and they just all tweet in unison, you know, Israel's our greatest ally. We have to support them. They all keep signing off on sending them more money. It's just like even AOC, like people that are super, super Democrats that, you know, are supposed to be, you know, doing what their constituents want, are just all ignoring it for Israel, but only for Israel, really. If you look at it, like it's like the left and the right is completely divided, but that's the one thing that they can all come together and agree on. And
well, let me ask you this before I play.
I've said that many times as well. It's funny, all of these politicians, they disagree on absolutely everything. When it comes to Israel, they all agree on the same thing.
But Netanyahu saying it's not Israel's fault, it's social media. No, it's what people see Israel doing on social media. And then I got the Kirby clip I mentioned, but what made you decide to run for Congress? And because I'll say what you're doing is extremely dangerous. You're definitely going to piss off Randy Fine, who's called for arresting anybody that criticizes Israel. And at what point, if it hasn't already happened, will he call for your arrest?
I mean, I'm surprised they haven't killed me by now, to be honest. It's one of those things where everybody's saying it. I mean, look, when I started talking about this, people weren't really fully awake. It was something that everybody thought you would get killed for saying. And now it's like trending on social media to talk about this. In fact, people have turned their entire accounts into anti-Israel accounts. And, you know, you see guys like Fishback running their campaign, basically like calling out Israel and talking about AIPAC. So
for folks who don't know, he's running for governor in Florida. Let me agree with you. I don't just go off polls. The polls show this. I'm on the streets, and a gas station attendant, restaurant, grocery store, church, everybody's just obsessed with Israel. My issue is Israel has a lot of problems trying to control us. You're saying only war worth fighting is this. I don't want any new wars, but Netanyahu admits they're losing the information war. We'll play a clip in a minute, but I don't think they realize how.
What do you guys think? Do you think we should go to war against Israel? If you're from the Western nations, if you're from the UK, if you're from America, do you think that a war with Israel would benefit the world? Drop a 1 in the chat if you think it would, and drop a 2 in the chat if you think it wouldn't.
Bad they're
Be interesting to see what you guys think about that.
losing. If he thinks $760 million they just signed off on for domestic propaganda, they already spent $500 million last year domestically. If he thinks it's going to fix it, the more Israel tries to push people around, the worse it gets. We're going into this cycle. Here's Netanyahu talking about it on 60 Minutes.
Netanyahu attributes the reputational harm to Israel almost entirely to social media, which he calls the eighth front of the war.
I'm getting a lot of 1s in the chat. Seems like people think a war would be beneficial against Israel.
This is yours, right?
But instead, the Western nations are making us fight for Israel. What's the chances of that? I reckon if we done a poll, if we sent a letter to every single person that lived in the UK's door, a letter to every single person that lived in America's door, to any Western nation, if they would rather go to war against Israel or go to war for Israel, I'm pretty sure we all know what the results of that would be.
You're not immune either, because you can penetrate this machine, you can penetrate this little instrument, and you can say about Major Garrett anything you want, and I can paint you as a monster. And if I say it often enough people will believe it.
Do you believe Israel is at risk of losing this war on that social media front? And this is particularly, I believe, important in America for younger Americans, Republican and Democrat, scrolling through images, and they would use words like barbaric in Gaza and in Lebanon.
Israel has gone to unbelievable lengths to get innocent civilians out of harm's way.
Lol.
We text message millions of text messages to them, make millions of phone calls to them, pamphlets, leaflets, you name it, okay? We have seen the deterioration of the support for Israel in the United States almost, I would say it correlates almost 100% with the geometric rise of social media. And that by itself is not what caused it. And I don't believe in, in censoring them or anything, but I'll tell you.
This guy's a fucking baby killer. Yes, I agree. And it's mad that we didn't have one single person write two in the chat. Not one person. Everyone said one.
What happened? We have several countries that basically manipulated social media, and they do it in a clever way. And that's something that has hurt us badly.
And you know, it's funny as well. Netanyahu's like, oh, all these countries, they manipulated social media. No, they didn't, bro. We've all just seen videos of babies dying every day. That's not manipulation. That's what you guys are doing. You guys have manipulated it yourself. You guys have bombed so many children around the world that everybody hates you. There's even people that supported Israel that now hate them. That's how bad it's got.
Is it your belief, Mr. Prime Minister, that nothing that Israel has done, tactically or strategically, has made no mistakes, either in Gaza or the West Bank, that have, in their own way, contributed to this negative impression of Israel, whether it's on social media or someplace else?
No, of course. Look, it's war. And in war, armies sometimes miss, and civilians die. And these are mistakes. These are not deliberate things that happen.
Whoops. We accidentally killed 100,000 civilians. Sorry, guys. Mistakes happen in war, yeah.
Israel is besieged on the media front, on the propaganda front, and we've not done well on the propaganda war.
We've seen churches where they bomb it 3 times in one day. And I know a lot of contractors, former military, that were pro-Israel before. They've contacted me and they said, I mean, we were in Gaza and they said, oh my God, Israel's pure evil. You have the footage of tens of thousands trying to get food. They just machine gun them coming in. This is crazy. So Dan, I get your point about being upset about Israel. My concern is, where does this end with the cornered Israel?
Well,
exactly that, No One X. Whoops, we accidentally killed 165 school children. Whoops, we double tapped. Not double tapped, but we triple tapped. All an accident, right. Like Alex Jones even said, whoops, we accidentally bombed the same church 3 times in one day. It's all an accident, though. It's what happens in war, ain't it?
I mean, one thing I would like to say about that video that I found interesting is he said, if I say it often enough, people will believe it. And usually what I've found with Israel is that many of the things that they are accusing others of, almost all the things that they are accusing others of, is things that they are guilty of. And one of the things that we've seen with a lot of the Jewish propaganda is they just repeat things and repeat things and repeat things until people finally just accept it as truth. Israel's our greatest ally. That's something that we just heard over and over and over and over again. But there's absolutely no factual evidence to back up any of those statements. Kind of like the 40 beheaded babies, the babies in ovens, the mass rapes. I mean, they just tell us these lies over and over and over again because they understand propaganda. And I find it interesting that he talked about it in that show and named it as propaganda, because that's exactly what it is. And that's what they're trying to fight. They're trying to fight a propaganda war where they give us misinformation and try and get us to believe it. I mean, to me, I just think government officials should be forced to tell the truth. And I think there should be laws put in place where if a government official knowingly lies, that they are held accountable for that. I mean, that's at a minimum fraud, it's deception. And there's no laws put in place to hold politicians accountable. And that's one of the things that I would like to pass when I get into Congress, is laws to hold politicians accountable for what they say.
I want to play this with audio right now. This is one of many videos. And I talked to 2 people who I know well, who were in the military and special operations, I'll leave it at that, highly decorated. They were over there, one of them in a pretty high-level position, I won't say anymore. And they went over there pro-Israel, and after spending over a year there, both of them in different places, they said it is unspeakable what they're literally hunting and just randomly killing men, women, and children. I was told about people on the ground. Here's footage of tens of thousands being brought in to try to get food drop, and they just start shooting them. Here it is.
It's mad as well. I remember these type of videos. Like, look how they're treating civilians in Gaza. These innocent Palestinian people. They're coming to get aid, and then that's what Israel was doing. They was telling Palestinians, yeah, come get some aid. And, then they're just gunning them all down.
So again, I want Israel to stop doing what it's doing. And Dan, do you think Israel's one monolith? Do you think they're all bad over there?
No, I don't think they're all bad, but I do think it's a sick society. And you brought up the shootings at the food station. I mean, there was, so many.
1 second, guys. We got a £5 donation from Rose English. Thank you so much, Rose English. I can't see a message there, but I appreciate your donation so much. You guys and girls are the best. You guys and girls are amazing. Thank you so much. Everyone drop a W in the chat for Rose English. Thank you.
Examples of just horrific things. Hind Rajab, Rachel Corrie. You've got there was a Palestinian ambulance workers that had their lights on. They're in uniform. They're going to help somebody, and they got gunned down by Israelis. Israel denied it, and then they found the footage in the shallow grave that they had buried these people. That showed exactly.
Another one from Philosophy. £2 from Philosophy. Tar for bringing information from diverse sources. Thank you, brother. I'll drop a W for Philosophy as well. You guys are helping me out a lot. Thank you.
In the shallow grave that they had buried these people, that showed exactly, what they said was a complete lie. They had just gunned down Palestinian ambulance workers. They've done so many atrocious acts and you look at their society, and a lot of their society supports this. More than 50% support this genocide that's going on in Gaza. More than 50% believe that they're operating and living in apartheid and support it. So it's a society of supremacy, and that supremacist.
Well, I feel like I need to rewind this a little bit because I missed it. My brain was thinking of other things. He's talking about Israelis, isn't he?
In the shallow
Not Americans, sorry.
Grave that they had buried these people, that showed exactly, what they said was a complete lie. They had just gunned down Palestinian ambulance workers. They've done so many atrocious acts and you look at their society, and a lot of their society supports this. More than 50% support this genocide that's going on in Gaza. More than 50% believe that they're operating and living in apartheid.
And it's true. This is why I wanted to rewind it, just to double check he was saying what I thought he was saying. We were saying about this, I think maybe it was even on yesterday's stream. It was a recent stream. And we was talking about the difference between Ukrainians and between Israelis. And the difference between Ukrainians and Israelis is, although we don't agree with Zelensky, we don't agree with his government, the Ukrainians on the ground, the majority of them don't agree with what's going on in this war with Ukraine and Russia. A lot of Ukrainians would, they'd prefer to have Putin in charge, or they would at least not support the war that is ongoing. But when it comes to Israel, pretty much every single Israeli living there would, they all support Netanyahu. And if they don't support Netanyahu, they might not support his party, they might support Yair Lapid, but they still support the occupation of Palestine. And that's the difference between Israelis and Ukrainians in my eyes, is that there's many Ukrainians that are innocent people that don't want this war. They're literally getting dragged off the streets and put to sleep, and then waking up on a battlefield with an AK-47 in their hand with no choice to go to this war. But when it comes to Israelis, majority of them want this war. So very good point Dan made there.
Support it. So it's a society of supremacy, and that supremacist mindset comes from the Jewish religion in general, because Judaism believes that they are chosen by God and that they are better than other people. And if you look into the Talmud of what it says, it's okay to lie, cheat, and steal from non-Gentile or from Gentiles. Jews have different sets of laws than Gentiles, so they really look at themselves as being better than Gentiles and separate from Gentiles. And I think that is the source of the problem. It's not Israel, it's the religion, which is why I'm not just anti-Zionism. I am against Jewish supremacy, because these problems have been occurring before Israel, and it is a problem with a supremacist mindset.
Well, I'm not defending Israel, but aren't most cultures, at least primitive cultures, they always think they're the best, they're the supreme people?
Well, Christianity doesn't teach you that you're better than other people and that you can lie, cheat, and steal from other people.
That's right. Christianity is what built civil. It was the big change.
Well, but Islam doesn't say that you're better than other people. They don't say you can lie, cheat, and steal from people that aren't Muslim. Both religions also want to encourage people to join the religion. They want to spread the gospel. Judaism is kind of closed off. So,
stay right there. Back in a few minutes. Dan Bilzerian. We've been...
Yeah, W. Dan. Also, London Lady, I think you made a mistake. You removed user, and user's he's on our side. I think he was just copying what I was saying when I was saying, boom, there goes this. So, sorry, user, man. We'll untime you out after the video.
Right about the poison shots and raise the main alarm. And right about the open borders. Want us to roll off the new site. Follow us there. App.com. As you share it to the share. The Alex Show is T.com. 10-inch double. They're all com. So, Trilogy, all the very best solutions.
Damn, a lot of adverts.
Follow or shared stuff. You're an entertaining guy. Interesting. And then him doing stuff with athletes and all the rest of it. I thought, you're an entertaining guy. And then I started seeing him get into Israel the last few years. And I'm like a deep researcher on it all. I make films on USS Liberty, all of it. I knew this clash with Israel. Once Israel goes for power, then people oppose it. And Israel has a setup where it gets more power playing victim. I was like trying to not go there because I understood that this has happened before and it's really bad.
Oh, okay. My bad.
And it's premeditated by Netanyahu and his predecessors. It's very dangerous. But now we're here. And so once we got here, then it's the way it is. We can't have Israel run our country and put us into total war. At the same time, I just don't want to get down on the level of Netanyahu saying exterminate everybody, and Trump will exterminate all the Persians to liberate them, and then we're like, we'll exterminate you back. I just don't want to get down on their level. But we were talking in the break about some big topics. I'm glad you brought these up. You want to get into what's going on with Trump, how he changed. You wanted to bring up his persecution of some of his biggest supporters, and just other issues. I'm trying to give you the floor. People say, hey, you're interrupting Dan. Give us your spiel.
No, you haven't been interrupting me at all. I think this has been a very fair interview. I think that Trump is completely compromised. I think he's completely sold out this country. He's turned on many of his biggest supporters, you being one of them, Tucker. I mean, everybody, Candace. And he does it at the first moment they criticize him. And he did the same thing with Joe Kent. I mean, it's everybody's seeing it. I mean, how many generals have quit? This guy is doing what is in his own best interest, and he's not doing what is in the best interest of the country. And that is the main problem with politicians today, is they're all focused on what's best for them and how they can make money manipulating the market, how they can make money, for their donors, and how they can get reelected. And it's just not about the country anymore. And it's a really sad state of affairs. But with Trump, I mean, he was so against war in Iran. I mean, he publicly criticized, I believe it was, he said, Obama's going to get us into war with Iran because he's so weak. He talked about how, if anybody took money from Miriam Adelson, that they would be, like her little puppet. I mean, he's done all the things that he has previously criticized other politicians for potentially doing. And now he's gotten, us into this Iran war, and we got dog walked into this war by Israel, and it was for Israel. They were not a credible threat to the United States. I mean, what was it? 18 different intelligence agencies told us that they did not pose a credible threat. We knew they didn't have nukes. I mean, according to him, he had eliminated their ability to have nukes with his last bombing. And so, yeah, this was just, it's inexcusable. They didn't pose a threat. We gained nothing by this whatsoever. In fact, that's why everybody's paying so much at the gas pump. That's why they're printing your dollars. That's why we're going further into debt. That's why the dollar has, 25% less buying power than it did 4 years ago. It's a complete disaster. He said that he had won the war a week into it, and that was just a total lie. We are losing this war, and we are going to lose this war. And I think it's a big eye opener. It's also hurt our credibility on the international stage.
No worries, London lady. It's fine.
Because I think a big part of our power was our ability to threaten things, and he's made many threats, and he hasn't followed through on any of them because they were all empty threats. Iran's laughing at us. They're mocking us. They're making Lego videos, mocking Trump, mocking our country. And this has just been a total disaster, and I don't see a good way out. He wants to preserve his ego, and it's going to be hard to find a credible off-ramp for his ego. And now
you go to what I asked you 4 times. You kind of went there. Now you're going there. I think second, third, fourth level, fifth level consequence. Israel has all these nukes and high-tech stuff. They're willing to go down. They got one thing, it's chutzpah, bravado, whatever you want to call it. I mean, what happens? I mean, Netanyahu I'll put the clip in a moment, looked very defeated. He said, yeah, we've lost the propaganda war. Yeah, because you've lied your behavior. But then the problem is he's not going to give up. So, and now they have such domestic control, this lobby and others, allied with some other interests, the military industrial complex, that it doesn't look good. I'm saying this is like going to get really bad. I don't, like you said, you don't see an exit ramp for Trump. What about Netanyahu?
Well, I don't think he wants one. I mean, according to, some of their theology, they, basically all nations have to hate and attack Israel for them to usher in their Antichrist. So if they're the sect of the true believers that want to usher in this Armageddon, this Antichrist, all nations have to turn on them. And if you look at what they're doing, I mean, it's almost like they want everybody to hate them. Because, I said, I'm like 2 years ago, I don't know how they haven't stopped bombing Gaza, how they don't stop doing this. And not only
they rape men, women, and children on video, and then it leaks. I'm not dumb. It keeps happening. All of this is done on purpose.
Well, and there was no arrest, right? They had the video of them raping male prisoners, gang raping male prisoners. Nothing happened. I mean, they've apparently trained dogs to rape prisoners. They just passed laws where if you're Muslim, you can get the death penalty, but you can't get, but Jews can't get the death penalty, which is directly from their Talmud, by the way. They have a Talmudic verse. I can find it for you, but basically it says.
No, I know it's all in there, and it's official. They're training the dogs to rape people. Have you seen the deputy ministers on TV saying, yeah, we need to kill all the kids. We're Greater Israel. I mean, the thing is, they go on TV. Just a couple of years ago, the ADL said I should be arrested for talking about replacement migration in Greater Israel. Now they're on TV saying, I'm saying something happened. They're like, yeah, I mean, you saw the U.S. ambassador from Israel, the U.S., Mike Huckabee, not the ambassador from the U.S., but the Israeli ambassador saying, Israel can take it all it is. So they suddenly in the last year went from mask off. Why is that?
Well, they want the Greater Israel Project, and the only way they're going to get it is by stealing that land.
It's funny as well. These people will try and say that the Greater Israel Project doesn't exist, but they literally admit it themselves. So I have to always remind everyone that literally Smotrich, even a few weeks ago, was coming out and talking about how they need to expand the Greater Israel Project, how well it's doing, how they've got more settlements in the West Bank, how they want to expand into Lebanon more. This is the reason why the Lebanese war is going on now. So it's definitely not a conspiracy. Definitely not.
Well, they want the Greater Israel Project, and the only way they're going to get it is by stealing that land. And it's going to be pretty obvious when they steal land. They're trying to do it in Lebanon. They took land in Syria. I mean, they're openly talking about it. I mean, to your point, Huckabee said basically they have the rights to the biblical Greater Israel. And so it seems like this is a setup for that. And it seems like they want to destroy the GCC, and they want to kind of like, create a war between us and Iran and the GCC. And, if we all weaken proportionally, they strengthen. So, maybe that's their thing. Maybe they want everybody to turn on them for them to, usher in the Antichrist and have their final prophecy. I don't know. But what they're doing is so inexcusable. And it's just war crimes in every category. I mean, they bombed soup kitchen workers. They bombed embassies. They've assassinated leaders. I mean, we could go on and on and on of all the atrocious things that they're doing and have been caught doing. And there just seems to be no repercussions. For some reason, we're shielding them. Netanyahu isn't going to have to answer, to the International Criminal Court. And it's just hypocrisy on the grandest scale. And I'm just tired of it. Yeah, there you go. There's the patch of the greater Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Now they say it on TV, top ministers. So we've gone from arrest anybody that says this to they're openly bragging about it. And like even Saudi Arabia that was for the, taking out Iran's weapons, they've now basically said you can't use our airspace. And Trump goes, okay, we'll end the war. And Rubio said the major war operations offenses ended.
Oh yeah, what happened as well? Like, there was actually a shift when they used to sort of pretend that Great Israel Project wasn't true. But then what made them actually be so brave to put it on their patch, on their army gear? What actually made them so brave to come out and tell people on public TV that this is what they want to do? I wonder where they got this confidence from. I actually do wonder.
Now he comes out yesterday and says, no, we need to invade to get the uranium. And notice that's all nebulous. Netanyahu can always say you didn't find the uranium. It's like Midnight Hammer. It's just a way to keep us committed to it. Here's Netanyahu at the end of the clip. I already played the full clip 2 times before Dan Bilzerian came on. But here he is at the end saying, yeah, we've really lost the propaganda war. Yeah, why is that? But he looks so defeated here. Here it is.
Is it your belief, Mr. Prime Minister, that nothing that Israel has done, tactically or strategically, has made no mistakes, either in Gaza or the West Bank, that have, in their own way, contributed to this negative impression of Israel, whether it's on social media or someplace else?
No, of course. Look, it's war. And in war, armies sometimes miss, and civilians die. And these are mistakes. These are not deliberate things that happen. Israel is besieged on the media front, on the propaganda front, and we've not done well on the propaganda war.
Okay, someone explain something. I've not been in the military, but since a little kid, I found it interesting and studied it a lot. But I can also watch the drones, the Israeli drones they've released, the Christian groups who put up drones over Lebanon. You're talking thousands of square miles leveled, nothing there. Churches with JDAMs all day, and then the Israelis go in and chop off the head of Jesus and, desecrate Mary. The point is that they are deliberately leveling everything now into Lebanon. Now they want to hit Turkey while saying it's a mistake. It's just, how dumb do they think we are, Dan?
Well, I don't even think it's dumb. They're just so arrogant. I mean, they've bombed every single working hotel. They've bombed 90% of the schools. I mean, it's just, they bombed every church. I mean, it's so inexcusable. And to say that Hamas was hiding under this stuff and like it's Hamas, when they're the ones funding Hamas, it's just all nonsense. It's utter nonsense. Yeah, there you go. Look at it. I mean, it looks like an absolute parking lot. And it's just indiscriminate killing. I mean, can you imagine the people that actually have to live in this? I mean, it's so atrocious. It's like nothing we've ever seen.
And then they herd them up for like a mile into a triangular kill grid and open fire on them every time they come to get food.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's just like I said. You can name the war crimes if you counted them on fingers, you'd run out of fingers. So,
by the way, I've talked to 2 different former highly decorated people that were there in the last couple of years for over a year each one, and they said no, it's all premeditated, and they were both pro-Israel.
Well, I mean, let's talk about the doctors too, right? Like, how many doctors have come forth and said on camera that they are specifically targeting children? And look, I was in the military. I've been shooting guns since I was 5 years old, and I went through some sniper training. And one of the things that you learn is, I mean, I learned this long before the military, but you always know what is on the other side of your target. You'd never take a shot until you're absolutely clear of what you're hitting. And when you're a sniper, you have a high-powered optic. You can see how many hairs somebody has on their face, so you don't accidentally shoot a child in the head. You don't accidentally shoot a child in the heart. That is a specific act.
Yeah, but Israel has this thing where they grab even down to age 5-year-old boys and drag them off and torture them, many times kill them.
Yeah, well, we just saw that little boy that they drove nails into his leg to torture him, so the father would give them information. I mean, it's constant war crimes, and it's because they don't view the Palestinians as human beings, because they think that they're like subhuman beasts. And so they're treating people like cattle. They don't give a shit, and their goal is to exterminate them. And
let's talk about Randy Fine. You were definitely running against. I don't know if you agree with this. I think he's probably the worst Zionist in Congress, and that says a lot. I mean, I see him in videos like, we can't allow people to criticize Israel. Even if you say Zionist, we're going to throw you in jail. He does all these weird unconstitutional laws, and you're running against him. I guess that's why you chose to do that. You are from Florida, but just, wow. I mean, this guy is amazing.
Well, it's not just the anti-Semitism laws that he's passed. It is the fact that he has said the most vile things on the planet about Muslims. So it just shows the absolute hypocrisy, because he's saying that he wants to basically kill all Muslims, that they're lower than dogs. If he has to choose between dogs and Muslims, it's an easy choice. And you know, whatever your view is on Muslims, you can't dehumanize a quarter of the globe and then whine about anti-Semitism, right? Like, it's just like the hypocrisy is what really pisses me off. And so, yes, the fact that he has passed these laws that are against the First Amendment and they're unconstitutional is one of the main reasons why I feel the need to unseat him.
Well, let me be clear about Islam. I've studied it in depth. It's been around only 14
Here comes the Islam hate. You know, Alex Jones, he always tries to blame Muslims for some reason.
years. The Crusades were a response to 700 years of invasion. They took over most of Spain. They went into Poland. The Serbs held them back over 100 attacks. They took down Constantinople, the eastern, what was left of the Roman Empire. They almost took Rome repeatedly, the Vatican 3 times. They conquered Sicily, part of Italy. I don't want to kill the Muslims. I don't hate them because they're Muslim. I know the sects, the groups, all of it. It is an expansionist military manual. That said, people go, well, you're either with the Muslims or with Israel. That's like saying I'm with a rattlesnake or a cobra. It's like I'm not going to get, put a cobra or a rattlesnake in my bed with me or jump in a pit full of them. So I've even seen Tucker, who I like a lot of respect, and even Megyn Kelly go, because Israel's so bad now, I'm pro-Islam. But I agree, we treat them with respect. Those are reforming, like the UAE we work with. We all need to do this. I want a reformation in Islam. I'm just saying the
UAE.
left's alliance with Islam is truly sickening. The transgenders out praising him when they throw him off a cliff. All I'm saying is, even the UAE and Saudi Arabia's warned us, we're exporting the very worst, most radical elements of the West, and then the Western governments use the threat of radical Islam to take our liberties away. So what is your view on the balance here? Because to me, I don't see it as 2 separate deals. Just because I don't like what Israel's doing and oppose it doesn't mean I have to then throw them with the Muslims. Does that make sense?
No, listen, I totally understand that. I just look at who is attacking our country and our culture. And it's not Islam, it's Judaism. I mean, Judaism is what is pushing the transgenders on us. That is who's controlling the media. That's who's controlling Hollywood. That's who's, launching this attack on masculinity. That's who's attacking this attack on whiteness. They're launching these attacks on everything that I am. And that's not coming from the Muslim community. And everybody wants to point at all these problems when the Muslim immigrants come in, but they don't talk about who is funding the NGOs that is pushing these open borders. That's Soros, that's Zuckerberg, and Charlie Kirk talked about this. He said all the people that are funding the NGOs that are pushing open borders are predominantly Jewish, and they're going to have to answer to that. And I think that's something that's just getting swept under the rug. And when you get these Muslims in here from war-torn countries, you're going to have problems. But you have the same problems when you get poor Mexicans in here. You have the same problems when you get, poor people from Africa, from Ethiopia, which is predominantly Christian. And it's not because those people are Christian. Mexicans are mostly Christian as well. It's not because of their religion. It's because they're poor and they're coming to a country that they don't have allegiance to. And you're also solving for the worst possible candidates, because anybody that's coming here legally, you're making them go through a long, 6-year process. But if you want to come here illegally, now you can come over immediately. So what does that do? That just solves for all the people that are willing to come here illegally, swim across the border, that don't bring anything to this country and don't have any allegiance to this country. And that's why I think you have the big problems with immigration.
Well,
I agree, London lady.
I go back to the question I've asked a lot, and not to answer it, but Israel's dug in. Netanyahu's in control because he's created this crisis. Trump appears to be under his complete control. Netanyahu says it's not over until we get the uranium. We need to raid the country. He means us. Trump says it today. I mean, how did Mark Levin, with his giant female brooch American flag, how did they get control of Trump? Because let me tell you, Trump was not, he didn't launch all this the first administration. He tried to get real peace. The Abraham Accords was overall good. Something happened 6 months in to his new administration last year. They get rid of Elon. They bring in all these bad guys on so many fronts. Do you have any idea what happened to Trump?
Well, that was right about the time when we were battling about the Epstein files, right? And Trump didn't want to release the Epstein files. And what did Elon say? Elon said very specifically, Trump is in the Epstein files.
George Jessen says, how dumb you people voted a felon in the White House. Pretty dumb, I'd say. My opinion on that is Trump did trick a lot of people. Obviously, some of us were awake and some of us didn't fall for his bullshit. But at the same time, can we even trust the elections anyway? They're pretty rigged anyway, aren't they? So does it really matter? Either way, a Zionist was coming into power no matter who you voted for,
Sure enough, we were battling about the Epstein files, right? And Trump didn't want to release the Epstein files. And what did Elon say? Elon said very specifically, Trump is in the Epstein files. And sure enough, he was in the Epstein files more than anybody else. And I've read many, many heinous allegations about, Trump from the Epstein files, from 13-year-old girls, from limo drivers, many different people. And these weren't just random, hearsay things. These are people that went into the FBI and testified to these things. One of the girls that testified against him had her head blown off. And it said very specifically in there that they didn't think that it was a suicide. So, I think that they have some dirt on him. Clearly, he was hanging out with Epstein. Clearly.
This is a tweet we was talking about earlier as well that he deleted. Time to drop the really big bomb. At real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, Donald J. Trump. Don't know why Elon backtracked on that.
Had her head blown off, and it said very specifically in there that they didn't think that it was a suicide. So, I think that they have some dirt on him. Clearly, he was hanging out with Epstein. Clearly, Epstein's whole operation was a Mossad operation to get dirt on our politicians, and I think that's exactly what they have, which is why we still don't have 3 million files released.
By the way, something I'm guilty of, and I'm overall doing a good job, like a B plus. We forgot about the Epstein files, and more comes out. We got to get back to what they released. Imagine the 3.2 million. Imagine, Dan, what they didn't release. You're right. It's Jewish supremacism. Him talking to all these Jewish leaders about how all the rest of us are slaves. He's talking to Bill Gates about killing poor people. They're in there talking about the Trilateral Commission, world government. I mean, it is crazy.
1 second, guys. We've got a super chat, £2 from Ozzy Alien. Insanity. Thank you, brother. Thank you for the super chat, Ozzy. Everyone dropping a W in the chat for that. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, G.
Talking to all these Jewish leaders about how all the rest of us are slaves. He's talking to Bill Gates about killing poor people. They're in there talking about the Trilateral Commission, world government. I mean, it is crazy. And then Trump tells MTG, I got to protect my friends. Whether he did it himself or not, he is definitely protecting them. And people ask why I've turned against Trump. I still hate the Democrats even more, but I'm in this paradox. I can't sign up with something and defend it when it's defending this, because then I become guilty by extension.
Anybody at this point that defends Trump is drooling on themselves, low IQ retarded, or they have no morals. I mean, I think he's really like drawn a line in the sand of, whether you're going to do and say what's right. And I think that all the people that have come out against Trump have done it for moral reasons. Obviously, it's not convenient to be criticizing the president of the United States, especially when he's shown that he'll, attack people that do. So I think all of the people that have come out in opposition to Trump have done the right thing, and Joe Kent included. So it was overdue. I understand, some of you guys having some allegiance to him. You had a long relationship, whatever. But I think now it's just what he's doing is so indefensible that anybody still supporting him is just clearly on the wrong side.
Let me tell you.
And it's true as well, guys. Like, if you had a friend or something, say if you're friends with someone and, you're really good friends, you get along really well, they've done a lot of things for you in the past, blah, blah, blah. But then they start going on this mad, spree of just talking all this nonsense, causing all of this madness in your life. As a friend, first of all, what you've got to do is you've got to try and talk to them and say, listen, bro, you're going too far, like, chill out. Try and talk to them behind closed doors. But if they continue to do it, it doesn't matter how long you've known each other. You've got to cut them off, and you can't support their actions. It's like if you had a friend and you found out he's a fucking rapist. It doesn't matter how long you guys have been friends for. He ain't your fucking friend no more. It's the same as President Trump. When people support President Trump because they, he done this back in the day and he helped me out do this. Well, so what? All of that's out the window now.
Relationship, whatever. But I think now it's just what he's doing is so indefensible that anybody still supporting him is just clearly on the wrong side.
Let me tell you, I've been critical since he got back in on things I want to keep it straight on. I had to really in the last year start really criticizing him intensely because he was going so off mission and it was going to be so destructive. But my problem is I look at the Democrats and all the evil stuff they do. It's not a lesser of two evils. It's just hard. It wasn't because of, I have allegiance or he's my buddy or I want access. Screw all that. No, it's that I'm worried about the Democrats and how bad they are. And it's just horrible to see how far we went with Trump to see it going sideways. That's all.
Look, I don't disagree with any of that. But I do think that when you zoom out and you look at who is spoon feeding these Democrats these crazy talking points and who is responsible for how crazy these Democrats are, it does fall directly on the Jewish media, because CNN, all these news networks, NBC, CBS, they're all coordinated. They all have the same message. And that message is making the left crazy. And this idea that, the right's going to solve the problems or the left's going to solve the problems, that to me is a distraction of who's actually causing the problems in this country. And I think the bulk of it is a result of Jewish supremacy. You see that in the Epstein files. I mean, he talks about it openly. If you were to say any of the things that were said in the Epstein files, you'd be the biggest anti-Semite in the world. I mean, he literally said, this is how the Jew makes money, talking about taking advantage of the Goyim. And, you look at 89.5% of the people in the Epstein files that, were named in criminal activity was Jewish people. So, and none of them have been arrested at all. In fact, the only two people that I've seen them really go after, Prince Andrew and they've questioned Bill Gates a little bit, are the only non-Jews in there. So,
nothing about Lex. Yeah, nothing about the real kingpins. So I go back to this then. Even Netanyahu says everybody's turning against him. What are they going to do? A big false flag? Something like that?
That's the scary thing, right? I mean, they're not going to just hand it over. They're not going to go down without a fight. We know that they, have no scruples. We've seen the things that they've done in the past. I mean, that pager attack was one of the biggest terrorist attacks in history. And, and that was kind of applauded. And many civilians died or were hurt because.
Remember Netanyahu gifted Trump that pager to celebrate the terrorist attacks in Lebanon. He also Yeah, I'm sure that they gave him like a vaccine as well, which is interesting.
And and that was kind of applauded, and many civilians died or were hurt because of that. That was something they had been planning for 8 years. So it just shows kind of the nefarious nature of that country and how they've done business. I mean, and you look, I mean, they literally poisoned Palestinian wells. Like that was, that was an authorized attack on Palestinians.
And they also blow them up and pour concrete down them on video. So do 15 more minutes. Yeah. I know you got to get back on the campaign trail, but I want to ask you about Charlie Kirk, because now on the streets, that's what I really go off of. But like mainline leaders, I mean, former admirals and generals are on Tucker saying Israel did it. And people said at day one, it's Israel. So I don't have proof. I got to see it. But now we see a lot of proof mounting. Where does that go? And then what does Israel do on the assassination front? And then talking about the guy you're running against, Randy Fine. Is he running from you? Is there going to be a debate? I can't wait for the ultimate viral thing will be when you debate him. Is that going to happen? Dan, stay right there. We're back in 2 minutes on the other side with Dan Bilzerian. You can find him, BilzerianForCongress.com. He's saying he doesn't want to exterminate everybody in Israel. He meant the state of it. So I think that's fair enough. That's what I had a real issue with. With Trump saying we'll exterminate all the Persians right after he was saying we were going to save them. We're going to go to break and come right back with Dan Bilzerian, BilzerianForCongress.com. Bilzerian is Bilzerian. Before we go to break, I'm not funded by Israel, Qatar, the Republicans, Democrats, anybody. I'm funded by you. And I am in massive...
It's quite a good interview, ain't it, guys? Quite a good interview. Quite a long interview. I didn't think
and
it was
on
this
X
long.
of the Alex Jones Show. Stay with us. We have the 88%.
Let's skip through these ads.
And so the brave world, check it out. Fine, one of the. This has got to be his ultimate nightmare to have you running against him. This guy, is he running from you? When are you going to get a chance to debate this guy? Is he running from you? This has got to be his ultimate nightmare to have you running against him.
Yeah, so TMZ interviewed me, and it was a bit of a hit piece. They kept trying to pin me down on being an anti-Semite. And I got to give credit where credit's due. They interviewed him afterwards and absolutely roasted him. They really held his feet to the fire on a lot of the things that he said. And one of the questions they asked him is if he would debate me, and he said that he would not. So I would love to debate him. I'm happy to debate him, but I think that he would be very scared of that conversation because he's used to just telling his constituents whatever talking points he thinks that they want to hear, and he doesn't want to have real conversations.
Well, I mean, he is a cartoon character.
Yeah, he definitely is.
Well, he's going to have to. I mean, you're showing up pretty good in the polls. He's going to have to debate you, isn't he?
You know what? To be totally honest, I'm a little bit new to this politics stuff. I really only decided to do this last minute because of the war in Iran and how much I was just so against that, and the negative effects that were coming from that, and the fact that we could potentially, not only be
Big W for Dan, though, man. He's literally not from a political background, like he said. He's just a guy that had some money to run, so he thought, fuck it. Everyone else is talking about what's going on in our country. But no one's actually doing anything. So big respect for Dan. You don't have to agree with everything he says, but the majority of it, I think we all do. So yeah, W Dan.
And the negative effects that were coming from that, and the fact that we could potentially, not only be in World War III, but have our life as we know it stopped because of this stupid war. And he was so supportive of that. And I looked at when the primaries were, and I had time to run a legitimate campaign. And so that was kind of the catalyst for this. So to be totally honest, I'm not sure if he has to debate me or not. I hope he does. I would love to do that.
Well, in the old days, they would have, instead of two kingdoms fight, they would have the two champions fight. Would you challenge Randy Fine, though I know you're scared of him? He probably can't wipe his ass. Weighs like 400 pounds. Would you do a cage match, bare knuckle, with Randy Fine?
Any type of warfare against Randy Fine, I would be amenable to. Guns, no guns, fist, gloves, anything he wants.
So you're challenging him right now. Well, let's not do anything illegal. I think Vegas bare knuckles legal, or maybe you guys can go to Thailand or something. You're saying, though he is formidable, Hulk Hogan was scared of him, I'm told. Or even Mike Tyson is, but you're saying you are ready and willing to take him on a cage match.
100%.
Well, issue the challenge right now to Randy.
Yeah, to a debate, to a cage match, boxing match, anything that he would want to do. I am all for it.
You're not intimidated by Randy?
No, he is the antithesis of everything that I stand for. He is the problem in America, and he is the embodiment of Jewish supremacy. So I would fight him with everything I have.
I'm told he can squat 1,000 pounds and bench press 600.
Well, just standing up, he's probably squatting 500 pounds. So.
That's a joke. I'm joking. No, he can hardly walk.
No, I'm saying he has to squat 500 pounds to stand up. So, yeah.
I tell you what, since it's not fair, would you take on Chuck Schumer, Congressman Nadler, and Randy Fine, the three of them against you in the ring?
Oh, man, I don't know. 3 against 1.
Alex is just clip farming now, man.
I don't know how.
Hold on. Come on, Dan. You're in good shape. None of them can walk.
Yeah, well.
let me just say this. I will take on Chuck Schumer, Netanyahu, Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, Randy Fine, Nadler, and Schumer, all 7 or 8 of them, no problem. Bare knuckles in the ring. I don't wish no violence against them, but I'm serious. For charity, I guarantee you, and I'm not even in the best shape, guaranteed I could take them all. Are you kidding? You couldn't take Schumer? Nadler can't even walk, and Fine. You're saying Dan Bilzerian can't take on those guys.
Oh, for sure. I just don't know if I fought all 3 of them or all 8 of them at the same time, how that would be. But one at a time, happily, the entire list.
Most of them can't even walk.
This is kind of like that whole gorilla against 100 infants or 100 retarded guys or whatever. I guess this is one way to find out.
I would bet $10 million that you could beat all 8 of those guys. Dude, all you got to do is get one punch in on each. They just splattered rotten diarrhea out there. We'll be right back with Dan Bilzerian. Well, we just found Dan McKay on walk.
Oh, okay.
Shapiro, Mark Levin. I don't know, all of them at once. Congressman Randy Fine and Congressman Nadler for.
Me again says, wow, Alex has really flipped. Yeah, I think that's what we were saying earlier. Like all of these Trump supporters and Israel supporters. At the beginning of all of this, everyone was supporting Israel. There was loads of people that actually, for some reason, supported Israel, like Alex Jones. They supported Trump, like Alex Jones. And it's like it's only so much killing of babies. There's only so much terrorist activities that you can support. I think Alex realised he's on the wrong side of history. He was on the wrong side of history, and it does seem like he's slowly starting to flip. Some of his views on Islam and things like that are wrong, but give him time. Give him time and enough education, enough interviews with people like Dan, and I'm sure he will be on the side of humanity.
He said, I don't know all of them at once. Most of them can't even walk. Can't even walk. No, you're scared. Your kryptonite is Nadler. Put Nadler back on screen. Does this not intimidate you?
Oh, man. Yeah, now that I've seen him, it's a little different story.
You're not intimidated by that guy?
No. Probably could take him.
Let me tell you, a strong wind blows by, those guys fall down. Okay, look, that is not, like you've trained with, top Lance Armstrong, you name it. You're not intimidated by that?
No, not at.
Thank you, Rosie99, for following us on Kick. I would recommend all you guys in the chat and watching this video on the replay to go follow me on Kick at Stairway to Freedom. Thank you so much for following me on Kick.
After seeing him, I wasn't familiar with the man you were speaking about, but now after seeing him, I feel.
But you got caught up on the break. How about Ben Shapiro? Would you do a cage match with him?
Yeah, I would love to. I would absolutely love to.
Getting serious here. They're all going to say we threatened them. It's a joke, folks. Let's talk about Charlie Kirk, because day one he gets killed 9 months ago, September, and 8.5 months ago, and day one is Israel. And I just simply said, we don't know. But then we learned that he was coming out against Israel. He was getting threats. He said that, confirmed from my own crew. Oh, put Shapiro on screen. You're intimidated. Oh, look at that. So, so then I learned they were making all these threats to him. We got told by U.S. intelligence that indeed Israel was connected. That's what got killed with Joe Kenny. He won't go all the way, but we knew that first. That's how Harrison Smith said he's worried he's going to be killed before he was killed. And I'm just going to stop him and ask not to give any more information. We had U.S. intelligence actually contact us. They couldn't get a hold of me, so they go track down Harrison, basically. I'm not tooting my horn. That's how busy I am. I just miss these calls. So now then, the FBI director kills the investigation 6 days after Charlie's killed. So people said, oh, you're apologizing for covering for Israel. No, I just wasn't going to say day one that. But now, with Netanyahu announcing an 8-front war a month after Charlie's killed, Netanyahu coming out 2 days after I didn't kill Charlie, and just all this behavior, it really makes me ask serious questions. But definitely, I don't buy the official story. Dan Bilzerian, what do you really think happened with Charlie Kirk?
Well, I mean, yeah, the idea. So this is actually one of the reasons I got into it with Nick Fuentes. I called him out the other day because he said there was 0% chance that Charlie Kirk wasn't killed by Tyler Robinson, and that it was low IQ anti-Semitism if you disagreed. And I thought that was an extremely crazy statement, given the evidence that we had. I mean, look, I've been shooting guns since I was like 5 years old, and I've shot a 30-06. I've dug those bullets out of trees. I've dug them out of animals. I know what they do, and that is it's a bonded, usually jacketed hollow point or a full metal jacket. But the
Bro, he needs to stop showing this video of Charlie Kirk, man. Fucking hell. It's going to get us banned. Jeez.
whole premise of a hunting round is for that round to not frag out, because you don't want to be digging little pieces of bullet out of your meat. You also don't want to destroy too much meat. And so the idea that a bullet would stay inside of his body and you wouldn't be able to get ballistics off the back half of that 190 grain bullet is just absurd. And it also, I mean, look, there is a chance that it could have hit his neck and ricocheted down. I think it's extremely unlikely that there wasn't a massive exit wound in the back. But that said, there's just a lot of very strange things.
I did receive that philosophy. Thank you so much for that donation. I appreciate you, bro.
Caved over the crime site a few days later.
And Kick is another platform, Super Mario. It's another streaming platform. I know you guys can't see my face right now. I am still here, look, but it's showing this graphic video of Charlie Kirk over and over again, which we obviously can't have on YouTube, and I didn't know it was going to fucking be on this video. But Kick's another streaming platform, and it's also a good backup in case we ever get banned or anything like that for fucking videos like this.
You know, there's theories that it was the lapel mic that exploded and sent a piece of metal into his neck, and apparently a explosives factory that makes those mics was completely obliterated with a lot of the people still inside it. And what I've been told is that Joe Kent's plane flew over the top of that and descended to 7,000 feet and reduced speed to around 150 miles an hour, which is very, very strange if you're not landing a plane. I mean, you know, I would always fly my plane at 41,000 feet. Some planes fly at 50,000 feet, but you never descend to 7,000 feet unless you're landing at a runway. It burns a ton of fuel. It's totally unnecessary, and you don't usually use jets to go sightseeing. So there's just been a lot of strange things.
Stop playing the fucking video, man. So I have to keep pausing it to cover this up. Oh, it's blurred up anyway, this one.
With respect to this case, I'm not saying it was Israel. I'm just saying that they unequivocally have a strong motive to have wanted to kill Charlie Kirk if he is going to be abandoning the Israel cause, which is what he said he was going to do. He said, I'm going to be forced to abandon the Israel cause. And that would be a massive disaster for Israel because he was one of the last pillars standing, you know, for Republican Christians. And he was historically very supportive of Israel. So,
oh my God, bro. Jeez. Why does he keep playing this fucking thing? Sorry guys. Like hopefully when I edit the video after I'll blur it out, but hopefully that don't affect my stream.
Massive disaster for Israel because he was one of the last pillars standing, you know, for Republican Christians. And he was historically very supportive of Israel. So
sure. Well, I'm not an apologist for Nick Fuentes. He's on Thursday at 1 p.m. just like you joined us here today. But you know, he grew up in Illinois, not a huge gun guy. And I think his thing is Tyler Robinson says he's confessed, and then you see the transgenders doing all this violence, including coming to his house. So that's what I thought up front too. There's all this transgender stuff. I was like, well, you know, you got all these transgenders the week before saying he'll be dead when he comes to Utah, and so that's why I was kind of like, hey, let's at least look at this. But now you look at, you know, the way Israel's been behaving, the cover-up of the whole case, all the rest of it. I mean, I don't think TPUSA is heavily involved, like some have said. But here's what I know. The vast majority of the public that I talk to, liberal, conservative, you name it, they believe Charlie Kirk was killed by Israel. So Israel's just understand that's where you are with the American people, that the majority of people don't believe a damn thing you say.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's talk about the first thing that Israel said, right? Is like, oh, we didn't kill him. Like, that's a very strange first thing for a country to say. And if you look at one of the most important things to him was us not going to war with Iran. In fact, he talked to Trump about this on numerous occasions, that he was extremely against the possibility of a war in Iran. And so if he was potentially going to turn on Israel, if he was adamantly...
Well, he was already doing it. And let me be clear, I think about this until after he was dead. He called me during Midnight Hammer and said, great job, keep it up. That's insane. You know, these forces here, Israel wants us to go to full war, it'll derail everything. Please keep it up. And Kirk didn't call me a lot. I mean, he called me like once a year. He called me twice. Then he calls up and says, great job on Epstein. Keep
Sorry, sister philosophy. Sorry.
the heat on. We've got to expose this. Keep it up. You've got a lot of support in the White House. So and later we have emails and text messages. He was calling other popular hosts saying the same thing. So he was really had a lot of integrity. He was saying, man, all the cliches about the Israel lobby are true. They're threatening me. You know, all the rest of this, I'm really concerned. And text messages have come out. He's like, God, I hope I don't die soon. He was worried about dying that day. So, yeah.
Yeah, he said that his donors were, you know, fulfilling all the stereotypes. He talked about how, you know, it was primarily Jews funding the NGOs that are pushing open borders. You know, he was talking about decoupling with Israel. I mean, he made a lot of statements. And the thing is, if you're going to kill the guy, you have to kill him before he comes out and is openly against Israel. The moment he's openly against Israel, you actually can't do anything because it looks so bad. And he was
reportedly days from that.
Yeah, and I find the timing very strange because apparently what I was told is that wasn't a scheduled TPUSA event. That was a last minute thing. Apparently his security detail was all brand new. And I look at Erica Kirk's behavior after this, and you know, the least she could do is honor his, you know, his wishes, right? Like, you know, she has come out and supported the war of Iran, which is totally against Charlie's beliefs. And you know, and then she's talking about hat sales like a week later, jumping up and down, all excited about that. You know, she seems like she can't wait to get on a stage. And it just does not feel in any way, shape, or form to me like a grieving widow. And so I'm very suspicious of this. Candace has been doing a full deep dive on it. She's 100% convinced that there's something weird going on. And as far as Tyler confessing, that's what I was told too.
Look at this evil bitch. Looks like something out of a fucking horror movie.
but then, later I was told that he did not confess and that he's pleading innocent. So hopefully he's not killed before the trial, because I'm very curious of what his.
I was about to say, I talked to a reporter off record, another one on record, Elizabeth Lane and one other. They've talked to 7 members of the family, the dad, the mom, the grandpa, all of them. They say none of it's true. It's all lies. He didn't do it. It's a setup. He didn't confess. And part of the tape's been released. Candace got it, but I talked to people involved. They say it's more the family's scared. And so, again, I broke the news. Everybody got mad at me with the Candace thing. They don't have 12 colonels in a base the day before with her planning to kill it. The guy randomly goes in. I think that was planted disinfo on her to discredit the real stuff she was doing. I just got mad about that, said that. Everybody got mad at me saying I was covering up and just saying this isn't how it works. But I was told by folks in the cabinet meeting, and I said, why am I being given this? They said, you're willing to do it. We're scared. They'll know it's us. And so I came out 6 days after. It was like 8 days after, 2 days after the meeting. So 8 days after, 6 days after, they have a meeting, and Cash Patel's screaming at the vice president. The president's in there, Susie Wiles, Joe Can, a whole bunch of them. And they're like, you're not going to investigate. He says to Tulsi Gabbard, foreign involvement, you're going to shut that investigation down, and we're not going to look at the tranny saying he'll be dead. And then 6 months later, it came out what I said was true. Obviously, it was true. So I've never been sitting here, covering up the cover-up. I just wanted to go with what was real. Here's Sammy Yobib, I think you say his name, very popular comic. This is the type of stuff that's mainstream now. So Israel needs to know. Taking me out or Dan Bilzerian or Tucker Carlson, that's not going to work, because the toothpaste is out of the tube, the genie's left the bottle, here it is.
Iran made a video about Charlie Kirk. I didn't even know that was in their wheelhouse. It was literally a video. You have this Iranian general just sitting in a chair with his face blurred. He's speaking in English, which means it's to me, okay? But he has an Iranian accent. I know it's an Iranian accent because I lived in LA for 10 years. He's like, let me tell you about Charlie Kirk. I'm like, what do you got for me, General? And he's like, did you know Charlie Kirk was killed by your government? I was like, yes, I did know that. I did actually. He's like, well, while we were hacking Cash Patel for funsies, we got into your FBI's mainframe, no big deal. Apparently the password's Valhalla123. And we found documents that revealed that your government plotted the murder of Charlie Kirk, and it didn't go according to plan. What? Our government botched an assassination attempt? We would never. He says, well, did you know Charlie Kirk was not killed by a bullet. He was killed by an explosive device planted into his microphone that was clipped to his shirt. I know. Mind blown. Better choice of words? Sure. I'm sure a lot of people are asking, what? Who could even plant an explosive device in a small piece of technology and detonate it remotely? Who would do that? But it's a thing, and it is real. 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 And it's Israel. They did it with pagers in Lebanon. By the way, where did we get this? Trevor? Best Buy? What is it? Tel Aviv Tech? Okay. He said the device was supposed to explode downward into Charlie's chest cavity to make it seem like a clean gunshot wound to the chest, so we would all be like, oh my god, he was shot. They'd thumbs up the fake Tyler on the roof. Be like, good job, buddy. We'll see you in Valhalla. But it didn't go according to plan because the device misfired. Like, where have I heard that before? And a piece of shrapnel shot through Charlie's neck, and it came out to the place that we were supposed to see the bullet going in. Now, this was the part that he said that blew... Okay, this was the part he said that really...
That's what he gave to Trump, isn't it? After.
Opened my eyes. He said because it misfired and because it exploded in all sorts of which ways, a bunch of pieces of shrapnel flew everywhere, and a lot of them went down and lodged themselves deep into the concrete where Charlie Kirk was speaking. And this is why the next day, a bunch of people came to repave the entire area. So Charlie Kirk is shot, and the next morning, a bunch of random guys from God knows where in Israel come and start repaving the entire asphalt. It's like you could have chose a better time to do that. This is literally the weirdest, most eerie part of the Charlie Kirk case, aside from Erica. It is the second strangest part about the case. Like if you were watching a crime drama like CSI Orem, and somebody gets shot, and then like moments later, like, oh, nothing to see here. We're just repaving the whole area. That would be like a 10-part series where they're trying to figure out like who the are these contractors. And so then the Iranian general was like, and this is how you know that it was your government who killed Charlie Kirk. Like and subscribe to my page. Hit the bell. I was like, do you have Lego contact? The Iranian intelligence, they understand the American mind because they know that Charlie Kirk is a very sensitive issue in the United States. They understand that even better than I did. Because after Charlie Kirk was shot, I honestly didn't even know that much about him. I was like, oh my god, that's horrible. But I still did a stand-up routine because that's what I do. I would do it to any of you. Don't take it personally. I posted it on YouTube, and YouTube took it down instantly. That's never happened to me in the history of my whole career. And you've seen some of the things I talk about. That's how many people flagged it saying no, they were upset, they're very sensitive about it. I didn't know you can't make jokes the same day. All right, that was stuff on my part. I should have at least waited for the cement to dry.
Well, that's Sammy Obeid. In closing, Dan, this is the biggest sensation ever, and Israel just keeps playing the part, and then even Netanyahu says, yeah, we're losing the propaganda war, so he's just going to spend $760 million propagandizing us, which should be illegal. What should be done about AIPAC, the ADL, the Southern Poverty Law Center? I wrote documents decades ago from our sources that the ADL, Southern Poverty Law Center, run all the major white supremacy groups and organizations. And I mean, so what should be done about this?
Well, I mean, that's what we have FARA for, right? Like, that's the whole point of registering foreign lobbies and making sure that there's not foreign influence in our government. We've done it for every other country. I just don't understand why we have this exception, for Israel, because Trump has literally admitted to, taking all this money from Miriam Adelson and from Sheldon Adelson, coming to his office and literally talking and lobbying on behalf of a foreign country. Like, I just don't know how that's allowed. I certainly know that I'm not allowed to, take a bunch of money from the Middle East or from, some Arab country or whatever to influence my campaign. So I just don't understand why guys like Randy Fine can take a bunch of money from AIPAC. And you look at the guy running against Thomas Massey, one of the last few patriots in office in our country, and they're putting in tens of millions of dollars against him. Trump showed up in his district to campaign against him. I mean, that's a pretty good litmus test when the president of the United States comes to lobby against the one guy pretty much single-handedly responsible for releasing the Epstein files, that has been, really just uncorrupted. I mean, that just kind of tells you the state of affairs that we're in right now. Is, I just don't understand how the president can justify, flying in to, lobby for some candidate that he has shoot in to get rid of the guy that's, kind of holding their feet to the fire on the Epstein files. I mean, that's,
and for those that don't know, Massey showed all the documents. I was aware of it. I knew it was true, but when he said it, I don't just believe him. But they'd have a bill with all this horrible stuff that it would be banning transgenders, but he knew they'd just take it back out in the House. So then when the bill came back, he put the provision in to ban the transgender stuff in schools, and the Republicans kept it in and passed it. Then they run ads saying he supports transgenders in schools. It's all lies, and tens of millions of dollars by the Israel lobby bragging to stop him, all because he did the right thing. We need to rally behind people like Congressman Massey. So I'm glad you clarified from the clip I saw that you're not saying exterminate everybody in Israel. You mean you want to get rid of the state of Israel, but again, they have nuclear weapons. How would that happen? And are you serious? Because, if you want to join the military, I have a secret suspicion Iran would let you go over there and join their military. You're not serious about that, are you?
Well, what I was saying is that Israel is the only country that I've ever seen that I legitimately think that we should be at war with.
Right.
Look back at the last 100 years of all the wars that we fought, and I don't think there is a war that I would be more excited about fighting in than against Israel. In fact, it's the only one that I can think of that I would actually be excited about fighting in, because they are attacking everybody around them. They're stealing land. They're breaking UN resolutions. They've illegally acquired nuclear weapons. They're terrorizing people. They're a ethnocentric apartheid state. Like, I just can't imagine a better place to go to war with. I mean, I would actually feel good about that. I wouldn't have felt good about Iraq. I wouldn't have felt good about, Vietnam. I wouldn't have felt good about Afghanistan or any of these other places, but I would feel really good about going to war with Israel.
W done.
I'm not saying that that's the answer. I'm just saying that of all the places that we somehow find ourselves in war, that would be the one that would be justified.
The good news is every former intelligence chief in Israel has come out against Netanyahu and said, stop this. The IDF said the Mossad Netanyahu lied about Iran will fall in 4 days. Even the IDF said Trump don't do it. So I'm not trying to lionize Israel, but I don't think it's one totally monolithic situation. I think Netanyahu over 25 years has gotten full control, and I think really just level-headedly talking about these issues. And Trump wants to pardon Netanyahu. He's pressuring the government over there. I think you're right. I mean, clearly they've got Epstein stuff on him or his associates, and that's why this is happening. But I got to tell you, I know you're a smart guy. I guess the clips I've known you. I haven't known you, but followed you for years. Some clips seem really smart, some seem dumb. I know sometimes you're joking around. But you're a smart guy. Talking to you here for the last hour and a half. I know Fine is scared to debate you, but if you find out where he's having town halls or where he's at a public event, man, it's going to be pay-per-view. You've got to go to these events because that is going to be just spectacularly viral.
That's not a bad idea, actually, ambushing him. I hadn't thought of that, but it's a good idea. And to touch on one last thing, I think that Netanyahu gets scapegoated a lot, but you look at guys in his cabinet like Ben-Gvir is actually way more radical than Netanyahu is, and you look at the previous prime ministers like Ariel Sharon, Ben-Gurion. I mean, there's so many of these people that are literal terrorists that people just forget how long that country has been committing terrorist acts because everything is so focused on what's going on today. But I think it's a sick society. I'm not saying every person in Israel is bad.
Well, what happens is Yitzhak Rabin tried to have peace and they killed him. That's the reason it's sick.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Ariel Sharon and Netanyahu killed Yitzhak Rabin. Anybody that tries to get peace, they kill.
Yep, correct. Yeah, well, so and I think that, a lot of the society supports it. So it's just, like I said, to me, it's not every person there, but their government is bad, their policies are bad, their supremacist mindset is bad, apartheid is bad, terrorist acts are bad, attacking the neighbors, sabotaging our peace talks, sabotaging our treaties, and forcing us into wars is just, to me, inexcusable.
Well, even for the pro-Israel crowd out there, and I don't want to destroy Israel. I want to fix this because they'll destroy us. We try that. Or they'll take us down with them. The Samson option. Even if I could hit a button and send them all to Mars, I wouldn't do it. I want to reform this. You have to understand that at the end of the day, this is only getting worse for Israel. And it doesn't matter. You can see this is impossible. Where this is going, the more Israel doubles down, the worse it gets. And so somehow Israel's got to get its act together and stop this.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.
All right. So you're back on the campaign trail today in Florida.
Yep. I stopped it to come in and have a chat with you.
What are the numbers showing?
We haven't gotten official polling numbers yet. I mean, I've looked at some of the different betting sites, and it's been from the mid 30s to 20% versus Randy. He's obviously the incumbent, so he's going to be a favorite. But we haven't really got the boots on the ground yet. This is the first time that we've really kind of started the campaign. Like I said, I started this last minute. It was one of those things that I just really didn't want to do, but I felt like somebody needed to do it. And most of the people in government are focused on what's best for themselves. We need people in government that's going to do what's best for the country.
Well, if you want to get issues out there, you're definitely winning that way. When's the primary?
It is August 16th.
Well, that's a long time. So
we got some runway.
Well, I would advise you to have plenty of security and cameras, but follow Randy Fine around and make like a live stream documentary out of it. And that's how you literally will sap all of his attempts because he's scared. So
I'm gonna send you a video when I find him.
Well, it would be nice to him too. But I'm saying, just bring up the topics, bring up his quotes to him. But I'm telling you, if you start shadowing him to quote, ask him questions, he's going to disintegrate. He's absolutely disintegrate.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to force the debate.
And I've seen him walk. I'm not being mean. He weighs probably 500 pounds. So if you get him in a parking lot or something, he's going to literally not be able to. He'll. God forbid he has a heart attack. So we don't want that. But the point is just trust me. All right, Dan. Bilzerian. I keep saying Brazilian. It's not a Brazilian wax jobber. Bilzerian. ForCongress.com. Well, I thought it'd be a meaner discussion, but it was a good discussion, and I appreciate you joining us. We'll talk to you again soon, hopefully.
Sounds good. Good chatting with you.
All right, we'll be back with the rest of the news. Then the War Room.
Yeah, that was a good interview, guys. What did you think about the interview? No worries, Salty. But yeah, I thought it was a good interview. It was longer than I expected. I thought it was only going to be like half an hour long, to be honest. But fuck it, I was intrigued. I wanted to watch the whole thing. I hope you guys liked it as well. You guys and girls liked it as well. And imagine how mad it will be if Dan's actually elected into Congress. It could change some things in America. That's why my gut's telling me that they're going to try and sabotage this somehow. I'm not sure how, but all our politicians are owned by Zionists, so I doubt they're going to want someone like Dan having any sort of power in the country. It would be great, though. It would be great.